what school won't tell you. Episode 6. Hi guys. As you know, the Swiss man Billy MEIER has been in contact with extraterrestrials since his early childhood. Sfath, a benign, elderly extraterrestrial man from the Pleiadian star system of another dimension, educated Billy in all aspects of life at a very young age. By means of his beamship, Sfath also took Billy on trips into past times, as well as the future where Billy could learn a lot about humanity. Sfath also instructed him about coming events, like in a conversation that occurred on May 5th, 1946. The predictions contain not only a guide to Billy's mission, but also significant predictions for humanity, particularly in relation to overpopulation, environmental damage, the role of the United States in international conflicts, and the impending end of humanity if drastic measures are not taken. Sfath begins to prepare Billy for his special task by explaining that Billy's development of consciousness has been accelerated by his support. Billy's reason and intellect are much more advanced than would normally be possible for a boy of his age. This allows Billy to understand the great tasks and bear the burden of his future mission. Sfath emphasizes that repetition will be an essential means of consolidating the lessons Billy needs for his task. The Pleiadian teacher also reveals that he will revisit the same topics with Billy time and again to ensure that Billy will not forget this important information. Constant repetition of important topics will enable Billy to remember all the relevant details, which is crucial to his mission and the spreading of the teachings of the creation. Part of the predictions relate to Billy's future travels. Initially, he will leave his home country and work as a tour guide in Istanbul and Turkey. He will then stay in Jordan for an extended period of time where he will be introduced to royalty and acquire new skills, including marble carving and jewelry making. After that, he will travel to Jerusalem and Bethlehem before journeying to Israel, which at this point is not yet established. However, 2 years later, the State of Israel has indeed been formed. Sfath explains that one of humanity's biggest problems in the future will be overpopulation and its innumerable devastating and mostly irrevocable effects on planet Earth. The rapidly growing population will cause significant problems, including environmental degradation, lack of resources, and social unrest. A drastic birth control will be necessary to protect planet Earth and its resources. If overpopulation is not curbed, humanity will fall into wars, terrorism, and other disastrous scenarios. The final result will be the collapse of human civilization if the problems are not addressed in time. A central theme in Sfath's predictions is the part the United States will play in the world's future. Sfath warns that the USA will cause chaos worldwide through its political, economic, and military actions. Not only will this happen through direct military intervention, but also through economic manipulation and the depletion of resources. America will be responsible for countless wars, bloody uprisings, and acts of terrorism that will spread throughout the world. In connection with the global actions of the United States, terrorism will also increase worldwide. Support for extremist groups, often in the name of religious or political ideologies, will become a global problem. Sfath warns that in times to come, this terrorism will cost many innocent lives and threaten global stability. Sfath also describes the role of nature throughout future decades and centuries. The destruction of the environment, especially through the overexploitation of natural resources, will lead to a wave of natural disasters that will cost the lives of millions of people. The climate change, loss of biodiversity, and pollution of the oceans and atmosphere will severely affect life on Earth. If these problems are not addressed, humanity will eventually perish from the consequences of its own inaction. Although technological progress will lead to major breakthroughs, Sfath also warns of the dangers of technology. artificial intelligence, AI, in particular will play a significant part in the future, as there is a risk that it will one day turn against humanity if not properly controlled. If this happens, many people will lose their lives. People must learn to use their technology responsibly to avoid catastrophic consequences. The predictions also mention the responsibility of each individual. Sfath states that people can only preserve their freedom and peace if they use their reason and intellect. If they continue to blindly follow political, religious, and economic leaders, they will remain trapped in a cycle of violence, war, and destruction. The only way out is to consciously develop their consciousness and take personal responsibility for their own actions. Sfath also talks about secret political activities that will play a role in the future. These machinations are controlled by powerful interest groups that operate in secret and control the destiny of the world. Many of these secret operations will be covered up by lies and manipulation, and people will know very little about the true background of global events. Religious fanaticism will also pose an increasing threat in the future. Sects and religious groups will try to expand their power by justifying acts of terrorism in the name of a higher being. This will lead to devastating wars and conflicts as people commit atrocious crimes in the name of their religions. The influence of these groups will be felt worldwide, and many governments will be powerless to tackle these threats. Sfath also warns of a cultural and consciousness decline in humanity. People will increasingly lose their ability to think critically and make rational decisions. The consumption of drugs, dependence on technology, and manipulation by the mass media will lead to a degeneration of people's consciousness. This will eventually lead to total subjugation to the technological systems that will control the world in the future. The conversation, which has been retrieved and republished from Sfath's annals, offers a bleak yet realistic outlook on the future of humanity. His warnings are clear. If humanity does not learn to correct its mistakes and uses its resources and technologies responsibly, it will ultimately head for its own demise. The solution lies in the conscious development of consciousness and a return to a rational life based on the teachings of the creation. This summary of the Annals of Sfath illustrates the great importance of his predictions and the urgency with which humanity must act to avoid the imminent disasters. They offer guidance for those who are ready to accept their responsibility and bring about positive change in the world. You can find the entire conversation in the 896th Contact Report, which you can download at FIGU.org, or in the pamphlet Predictions by Sfath, May 5th, 1946. Subscribe to our channel for more interesting topics, and click on the bell if you want to be informed about our latest publications. Until our next episode, when we'll be revealing lots of interesting facts. What school won't tell you.